Welcome to Second Take, the show that focuses on the issues behind the news. Mining Weekly editor Martin Creamer joins me today to unpack developments in the mining industry. Welcome, Martin.
Hi, Stephanie.
Now, you recently interviewed AP Ventures, and they are optimistic that hydrogen and its applications are gaining popularity.
It's very interesting to see how hydrogen is gaining momentum all over the world. I mean, every time you look at a German newspaper, every time you look at an overseas publication in the United States now as well, even Portugal and Australia, they're coming through with plans for hydrogen because this is now seen as a universal energy carrier. So it can carry that renewable energy. All that renewable energy that you're generating from the sun and the wind had a weakness. It couldn't be transported. Now it can be transported as hydrogen. And then when you use that hydrogen, provided that hydrogen has been produced from the sun and the wind, it is green and clean. And then you fight off the whole scourge of climate change. And AP Ventures is very interesting because the backing that it's got is huge. It is part of Anglo-American Platinum. They have set this up, but now their second big cornerstone investors is the biggest asset manager in Africa, and that is our PIC, our Public Investment Corporation. It has also attracted other investors from Japan and various other countries. So people are seeing that hydrogen is on its way. And the announcement that came from America yesterday, and I'm doing the story right away, is that the biggest municipal authority in the United States is now transitioning from coal-fired power to hydrogen-fired power, and they being backed by Mitsubishi. So it's going to be very interesting because this could really create a pathway for everybody to convert. And it's not only the electricity where we switch on our lights, but it's also driving your car when you use the fuel cell. And there, of course, the platinum mining industry comes into play because of the platinum that can be used there.
And 27 mining and metals companies have committed to climate change solutions through the International Council on Mining and Metals.
This is a very interesting thing that you get an organization like the International Council of Mining and Metals, and then you get big mining companies, the biggest in the world, to commit to mitigating against climate change. That's a fantastic strategy. And you can see that it's really the biggest of the big. And our South African Rainbow Minerals right in there, Anglo-American in there, BHP Billiton, Rio Tinto, you name it. And they're all having to say, and Glencore, we're all having to say, we will act in this way, which is to compete against the threat of climate change. And if they don't, then their membership lapses. So it's a wonderful way of doing things, and it's all independently driven, but also collectively driven. And we see that some of the companies are going off and setting up hydrogen as well, using the sun and the wind to create that renewable energy, and then creating hydrogen to drive mining trucks, which is going to be very important. So if the mining industry starts that way and they set up infrastructure around the world, of course, it's going to bring in everybody.
And lastly, the Council for Geosciences is mapping the country to find exploration hotspots after lockdown.
This is really important. We've had a geoscience industry that used to look quite strongly inwardly, but then it started looking outwardly to try and assist Africa. Now it's back inward. And if you talk to anyone in the exploration industry, they will tell you that we have really missed an opportunity here. We've just stopped exploring. And there are new technologies which really help you to explore now, to find out so much more about what is under the ground and whether it is viable to bring it out and where it is and what you can do with it and how it links up to other ore bodies, that it is such a pity that we are still so behind. So geoscience now is going to have to play catch up and really move to try and get some investment. They're targeting foreign investment. They're targeting companies coming in from outside as well as companies inside, but there are specialists from outside who really are willing to co-invest in this, and it's always a very big high risk, so you do need to attract them. It is very important news that geoscience is now making sure that they can tell you what is in that ground, and that has been a huge drawback because the cadastre system at the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy is totally inadequate. And I see people, online, they're doing their own Google studies actually to find out where our metals and minerals are, and they have to battle to find out who owns what. I mean, that should not be the case. You should be going into the cadastre in the department and clicking on, and you should be finding out everything you need to know, because if you go to Mozambique, that's what you can do. And the system that they use in Mozambique was developed here in Cape Town. So it's just not being used. Our own systems, our own homegrown systems are not being used by our own department, which is really wrong. And once they get this geology, they need to change their system, and you should be sitting at your desk. You should be able to click and find out exactly who owns what, where it is, because everywhere else in the world, that is the case.
Thanks for speaking with us, Martin.
Great pleasure, Sashni.
That's it for today. Join us again next week for more news analysis on the local and global mining industries. And don't forget to listen to the audio version of our Mining Weekly daily email newsletter.